Maximilian Kolbe was young. He had once driven his mother to the point of exacerbation. She said, "What will ever become of you?" Soon after, Kolbe started acting strange. His behavior changed seemingly at once. His mother was concerned something was wrong with him or that he was sick. For long hours he would kneel before the altar in their home. One day he returned from the altar with red eyes, crying, and his mother was scared. Quickly she demanded to know what happened. Kolbe hesitant and his mother waiting. Kolbe finally said, "When you asked what would ever become of me, that made me very sad, so I asked the Blessed Virgin Mary the question, what would I become? Then she appeared to me holding 2 crowns, one white and one red. She looked at me and asked which I would prefer, the white for purity, the red to die a martyr." Kolbe replied, "I took both." Kolbe started out as a Franciscan priest. His motto was to convert the whole world Catholic for the Immaculate Mary. He started a newspaper, The Night of the Immaculate. The first edition hardly sold at all. It had a notice on it saying, "Due to a lack of funds, the regular appearance of this review cannot be guaranteed." And then he said, "When we ran out of money and desperately needed 500 marks to finish the printing, which nobody else knew. One day, on the altar dedicated to the Immaculate Conception, someone had left an envelope for Thee, my Immaculate Mother, which had in it the sum of 500 marks. Another man had left a whole piece of land to Kolbe, where he would found a new city. At the center of the city would be the monastery in which he printed his newspaper. Over time, the newspaper would go on to sell millions of copies per week." "Tell us, Father, in what does the true progress of our work consist?" Kolbe answered, "If we were to have the latest machines, if we were to use all the technical improvements and all the discoveries of modern science, this would not be yet true progress. If our reviews doubled and even tripled the number, that would not be true proof of progress. What is necessary then to have true progress? Our exterior visible activity, whether in the cloister or outside of it, does not constitute our work, but the true work is in our souls. Everything else, even science, is only secondary. Progress is spiritual or it does not exist. Consequently, even if we had to suspend our work, even if all the members of the militia abandoned us, even if we had to disperse as the leaves swept by the autumn winds, if in our souls the ideal of our work continued to grow, we could say, my little children, that we were in full progress." Kolbe said, "I demand that you all be saints." He said, and he explained how it can be very simply done. He wrote on the chalkboard, V equals V. Do you understand this? V for voluntas, that is the will. The small v stands for my will, the capital V for God's will. If you replace the equal sign with a plus, you will have a cross. You don't want this cross, do you? Then identify yourself with the will of God. God wants you to become a saint. After dinner, all the brothers went to see a play. Father Maximilian Kolbe invited anyone who would like to keep him company to stay. "My dear sons, now I'm with you. Indeed, you love me and I love you. I shall die and you shall remain behind. Before leaving this world, I want to give you a remembrance of me. My dear sons, if only you knew how happy I am. Yes, my heart is overflowing with peace and happiness. It is a happiness and a peace that can be found on earth despite the difficulties of life. At the bottom of my heart, an unspeakable calm reigns." As he made this confession, his eyes began to tear up, and there was a quiver in his voice. There was complete silence. "Brothers, perhaps we shall never see each other again and have such a supper. I have done this to strengthen you, for spiritual difficulties lie ahead." Soon after, Poland was invaded by the Nazi regime. Kolbe was put into a concentration camp twice. The first time he was released, and the second time he was put in Auschwitz. The prisoner escaped, and the punishment for that was 10 men would be picked at random for death to be starved. The men were made to stand in the scorching heat for 3 hours until many fainted. And then, finally, the men were called, and one cried out, "My poor wife and children, they will never see me again." Kolbe walked up to the guard, who had beaten him half to death, scaring him by standing directly before him. Kolbe, cautious not to humiliate the guard, said quietly, "I want to die in place of the father of that family. I beg of you to accept this offer." The guard, indignant, Kolbe responded and continued, "Because I am old and useless, my life is not worth anything, while he has a family and a wife." 16670, Kolbe's number was written down and the father's erased. After starving for over a week, Kolbe and 3 others survived. They prayed daily in silence. The guards remarked how these prisoners were unlike any they have ever seen. Kolbe, failing to die, was given carbonic acid. Once the guard came in to check that he was dead, his body sat lifeless, with his face glowing.